All right, let's get the details on the latest move in Comcast purchase of NBC Universal. Bloomberg's Todd joins us now from Washington. He was on the call this morning with the FCC. And Todd, thanks for joining us today.
Hi, Lisa.
Why don't we start, just if you could give us a little bit of backdrop to this deal. This is something that I think a lot of people may have fallen off the radar screen for many people. But what did happen in Washington, and give us a little historical backdrop.
Yeah, the regulatory review has been going on for about a year here in Washington. Comcast proposed to purchase the controlling share of General Electric Company's NBC Universal back last December. Now the FCC has taken a big step. The chairman of the FCC has told fellow commissioners this deal would meet the public interest standard, which it must meet, if certain conditions are met. So today, Chairman Julius Genachowski sent those standards on to the other 4 commissioners, and this commences a round of internal bargaining at the commission. And will probably last several weeks, we presume.
What does that mean exactly? It meets the public interest. It assumes that a deal might not have gotten approval because it wasn't good for the general consumer population.
There is some concern in Washington regulatory circles with big media and whether large companies will be able to throw their weight around and foreclose the market to smaller companies, for instance. So in order to alleviate those concerns, the regulators say you can have your deal, but you've got to do certain things. And in this, some of those certain things that Genachowski is proposing have to do with access by competitors to Comcast programming. Let's remember that Comcast, a cable company, will control NBC's network and its owned television stations, which are in major markets. So once the deal closes, Comcast controls NBC programming. If you're Dish or DirecTV, the satellite suppliers, you're a little bit nervous about that. And I believe these conditions, or we're told these conditions, would include some language saying Comcast must share programming with competitors.
All right. What happens now going forward? Do we expect Comcast, have they replied to this? Have we heard any word from their executives?
Comcast says it's gratified with this turn of developments today and that it expects a vote in January, with the deal then to close sometime in January. That's what both companies said yesterday. It's a little bit out of their hands as the other 4 FCC commissioners, there are 5 in total on the agency, as the other 4 start jockeying for votes, telling each other, well, let's put this condition on, pull this one off if you want my yes vote. In the end, Chairman Genachowski has to get to 3 votes for this deal to go ahead. And also, in another part of Washington, it's being reviewed by the Department of Justice for antitrust concerns, which is a more straightforward assessment of whether it's just too big for the market and whether the resulting company has just too much of a market share. And we expect both agencies to decide more or less simultaneously.
All right, very quickly, Todd, I'm just looking at the 2 stocks here. It looks like GE is slightly higher, obviously the parent company to NBC, up, just a penny on the day. Comcast down about 8 cents. Any thoughts as to whether or not this is reaction or investor reaction to this announcement?
I'd love to have a market-moving news on my hands, but we've expected all along that the deal would be approved with conditions. The question has been, what are the conditions? Those are let loose on the floor now at the FCC. We're going to learn a little bit more about them in coming days. Inevitably, we hear some details about what's behind closed doors there. So I'm not sure about today's share price movements. Nobody really is day to day quite often, so we'll just have to watch this as it goes along.
Right, and a lot of this, as you said, is probably baked in, and after all, this is a holiday week. All right, thanks so much. Todd coming into us live from D.C. with the latest on the FCC and the Comcast NBC deal. Well, we also have a disclaimer as we talk about this. Bloomberg LP, the parent company of Bloomberg Television, has filed papers opposing this merger as it is currently proposed.